This is an example of projected twack, as I call it, or projected imagery, moving imagery, not just still images, on top of an existing screen, which might make your video that may or may not have captured good evidence look like it captured really good evidence, or more evidence, or it captured evidence and then was covered up by nonsense that made it look worse than it did, or better than it did. And if it looks better than it did, and you're trying to show that evidence to an APD officer perhaps, or a friend or family member, and you're trying to show them that you're not crazy and that you're not hallucinating this bizarre set of imagery that starts appearing around you, it's hard enough to pull up an image out of the thousands of videos and images that you're trying to take to capture this bullshit show up. It's hard enough for you to find any useful evidence in all the bad evidence that you've captured, but hang on to in case that there's some sort of piece of good evidence in there, or that you can modify it later and enhance it. And then even when you do think you have a video ready for the police officer or friend or family member, and you pull it up and you're like, this video doesn't look like I remember it. That's because there was an image being projected onto the screen or into your eyes, because I also see these sometimes with my eyelids closed, not at all times, but quite a bit often when I'm looking up above the roof or in the sky for what undoubtedly must be a drone that they use, or a set of drones. It's really hard to see at the night sky anyway, to see an unlit aircraft that's unmanned. It's especially hard or impossible when you get imagery like this projected into the air or into your eyeballs, and it creates a camouflage so they can go wherever the fuck they want. And it's also on the walls, of course, because it's projected everywhere. And it really just appears, at a glance as like noise or nothing at all, because it's so subtle. With my eyes, I can barely see that there's anything being projected on top of the screen. But if I look closely with my eyes, I can make out what appears like an ever so slight change in the contrast in moving images. And plus, I'm already accustomed to looking for it. It doesn't look this colorful to the eyes. It actually looks like black and blackety black. It looks like there's a dark. Oh, there we go. Let's see if it's still being captured. Maybe I should turn the light off. So sometimes the camera, it's harder to pick it up, or sometimes it picks up even more twacky projections, or more twack as I call it, layered upon layered upon layered. And then it's like, so when you think you see something and you try to capture it with your phone, well, your phone did capture it, but it captured that and this and this and this and this and this and this and this, and it looks like a whole bunch of mess or a whole bunch of noise, making it very hard for these gang stalkers to be believed as a real thing. So I think I've captured enough footage, but look at that. See, and it's just like, is it in the camera or is it on the wall? Well, obviously my eyes see it and my camera sees it, so surely that means it's on the wall, right? Or is just my camera and my lens and the lens of my camera and my eyeball getting projected with the same bullshit? It's like, how is this possible? Or is this just an effect of the stereogram, or whatever it looks like a stereogram, or whatever type of image it is? Like, see, slow it down. But now it's being sped up. Ooh, or is it like a flip book? Could be like a flip book. I'm not really sure, but it's really impressive, right? And then look, ooh, now they're all twirling. Now they're all twirling. Twirling, 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 and whatever. curtains. Are there any imagery? Where is its part? It's not a patterned sheet, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have a natural pattern to it, but probably not one that looks kind of like that, you know, where it looks like, you know, either a face, or is that a face, or those eyes and a mouth, or is that just a cloud? Look how it kind of repeats, or it looks like it repeats up there. It looks like, see that? But that could be part of it, or it could be just natural, or I don't know. That seems kind of weird. Is that a face? Is that something else? Well, there's something moving on it, that's for sure. Is this AR? Is this augmented reality? Kind of, but not in the good way. It could be used in a good way, but it's used to make you look crazy. It's used to make you sound crazy, because no one else really sees these. It's really hard for them to. But and it's really hard for them to believe that people actually have the time to invest in, and the lack of morals to actually do this to someone. And they're still talking to me now. What are they saying, Kip? Well, believe it or not, they can use something kind of like voice-to-skull technology, or exactly like voice-to-skull technology, which I was unaware of, but has existed for, pardon the hobo beard, for 50 years about, where you can use microwaves to transmit audio to someone's brain or someone's ears, and their ear naturally converts it into normal audio as a natural thing, natural somehow, magically, I don't know, but it is a real thing, and the person does not have to have any receiving equipment on their person or installed into their brains. It is just a device that I believe mentalists sometimes use when they say think of a number and they guess the number that you think of, because they were actually transmitting that number into your brain subliminally. It can also be used not so subliminally to trap someone on a schizophrenic radio station of a complexity that no one would ever believe unless we actually get the audio of it. And with this technology, they can also use the electrical shocks that I've described. It's described to APD and to friends and family in the physical and sexual assaults that they do 24/7 basically, as they're doing to me right now. They're zapping my shoulder. They're zapping my arm, and with that technology they can actually speak through you, which doesn't sound crazy at all, does it? But no, it's just basically like you're listening to a radio station on headphones, and like a talk show, and then you're speaking what they're saying, but it actually happens more real time than that. Hey Dan, why don't you speak? They're choosing, this is one of the first times they've chosen not to speak. I don't know why, because when they speak it just makes me look more crazy. Why aren't you speaking? The reason why I'm not speaking, Kip. This is actually Dan. We call ourselves Dan. Every time we talk through Kip's mouth, we call ourselves Dan. Kip, put the camera on you. No, I'm not gonna put the camera on me. Kip has a hobo beard. Forgive the hobo beard. Actually, I don't know if it's on me or not. Actually, it doesn't matter, because you're gonna look crazy no matter how you do it. So speak. Kip, I'm telling you to speak. Kip isn't speaking right now. Kip is not crazy, but he's going to look crazy when he posts this, because no one believes Kip that this is actually happening. And what's really fucked up is that this is an actual real person using VoiceToSkull. See, Kip is choosing not to speak anytime that I'm speaking, so that you know, instead of figuring out who's Kip and who's Dan, and that's a pseudonym, by the way. I think it was a real good choice for you not to speak, Kip, because it's very important that people know that we can actually control the words that are coming out of your mouth. Yeah, he looks crazy. We actually do the inflections and stuff too. Kip, the camera's not really on you.